Hello, everybody. Do not adjust your computer screens. You are watching Take the Black Live, your weekly deep dive into all things Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, science fiction, fantasy, genre, Marvel, anything you can shake a stick at. I am Dan Selcke, the editor of WintersComing.net, here with Cheryl Wassenaar, associate editor of WintersComing.net, and Mia Johnson of Fansided.com. And we are back after a week off in a splashy new set. There's a lot of black going on here. We have couches, we have cameras. Richard is behind manning the switchboard, and we are excited to be back. Guys, how are you?
I'm good. We are in a new space. We are here to bring you all of the goodness. It's nice. It's nice to be here with you. It's nice to have Mia here. Yes. It's good. I'm good.
It is good to be back. I don't know if you guys knew this, but before, when we shot this show, it was just kind of like in the middle of a room with other people around us. Now we're in a separate room. We can be as loud as we want in here. Or uninhibited.
We have the power.
We could.
Turn my collar and go like this. And do whatever I want. Anyway, we are here today to discuss some big things happened while we were off. Namely, a bunch of cons. Now, Mia, we asked you to come on here because you were at San Diego Comic-Con.
I was.
And we're going to talk all about that.
Yes.
But first, let's talk about the other con that happened since we've been off. Con of Thrones, which was the premier Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire convention on Earth. I went to it 2 weekends back in Nashville, and I think it might look a little something like this. Hey everyone, this is Dan Selcke here at Con of Thrones 2019 in Nashville, Tennessee. We're at the premier Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire convention in the world. Let's go check it out.
Please welcome to the stage Glenn Custer Waldow, Jaime Lannister, Woo! Jerome Flynn, and Milton Alamo with Cereal for Our Lives.
Yes!
Here at Dur Demarian with Falnir. Now, Falnir, what are we doing here?
Well, we're going to introduce you into some foam fighting.
Hey. Oh my god. I think I'm dead. Okay, it looks like I'm losing, but looks can be deceiving. They're not in this case, but they still can look that way. And now I think you want to show off your bow and arrow prowess.
Yeah, I could shoot something off your head if you'd like.
Okay, let's do the cap.
Now, I'm not as sure about this one, but I'll try my best.
What does that mean? You're not as sure about this one.
You ready?
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Kudos. I'm glad it hit me in the face.
You didn't die, Dan.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, Con of Thrones, biggest convention Game of Thrones in the world. A lot of fun. As you can see, I clearly had a good time. That was Bellator. That's like, have you ever heard of that? It's like the thing people go take the foam swords and go out and like fight each other in the park.
Oh.
Is that a new name for LARPing?
No, that's been around for a while. I'd heard of it. It's not LARPing. LARPing is, live action role playing. Bellator is you get some foam swords and you whack each other with them. You don't have to be a knight to do that. You can just be Biffs.
They do the same thing with lightsabers. They have one for Comic-Con. They have a big lightsaber battle out, I think, in Balboa Park. So I feel like it's similar, just like two separate fandoms.
Yeah. And that was Dur Demarian, the Nashville chapter, and the proprietor, as you can see, shot a bottle cap off my head with a foam arrow.
Shout out to them.
It was very talented. I was afraid he was going to miss.
And you didn't die.
You didn't die.
I mean, the way I figured it was, even if he did miss, it's a foam arrow. It's only going to cause a minor abrasions at best, and then Exhibit A would be that video.
Yes.
You'd have it right on it. So I wasn't in danger.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a blast. The cosplay was amazing. You saw some of that there. The one girl as Lyanna Mormont, the 6-year-old, so cute. And her mom was the elephant that Cersei didn't get.
Oh, that was her mom.
Nice.
Family cosplay.
She called herself the pachyderm that was promised. There was just a lot of great creativity and passion and people having a really good time.
That's awesome.
It was actually kind of nourishing. Because, after, there have been a lot of, kind of toxic talk, but after Game of Thrones ended, people were like, I'd like the final season. If you don't, that's great. Good for you. But it was really good to be in an environment for a weekend where people were just really excited to be there and happy to be there and talk about what they love about it. And it was a really fun time.
Yeah, I imagine. I feel like the fans are still there. I don't think the fans have ever just completely blown off Game of Thrones, and I think that con is a testament to that. It was
Totally.
really awesome. How was it, by the way, moderating your panels?
It was a blast. I was on 3. I had a really good time. I was on How Game of Thrones Changed Television. I moderated that one. That was a good time. We came to the conclusion in many ways. What? Oh, you can find it on the Winter is Coming YouTube channel, WIC. We posted a bunch of panels on there. Posted all the ones that I was on. I posted the Sit Down with Nikolai Coster-Waldau, gave interviews, really funny in person. He took a call from his wife, like, in the middle of his interview. She was, like, locked out of the building. Just, like, talk some Danish. And it was just,
That's great.
really
He's a family man, okay?
Yeah, that was great. I was on the spin-off panel, all about Blood Moon, the spin-off. That was going to be fun. That was a lot of fun. There were like 6 of us on that one. We couldn't get a word in edgewise. It was very chaotic. And then finally, my favorite one was Journey's End Cersei Lannister, where we just stand the hell out of Cersei for an hour, which was a lot of fun.
Kenny Adamo, hi Kenny, says...
Oh, and I saw Kenny.
Yeah, he says it was great to see you at the con and that you had good panels.
Oh, thank you, Kenny.
That's like the highest praise, man.
is.
Good panels.
They were. I mean, the panels were a lot of fun. Like, it's just fun to go and... Like, at San Diego Comic-Con, like, did you go to... Are there, like, fan panels, or is it mostly, you're there for the celebrities?
There are, and I think there's a big debate now about San Diego Comic-Con where it's like, is this just people trying to see the big, shows like Good Place and all those things, or is there still a part where there's a community where they can have fans? I mean, they still exist. There are people who, are avid fans like us, who, moderate these panels and bring fans in. So I think... Right now, San Diego Comic-Con is just trying to find its identity. And, is it going in the right direction or wrong direction? That's kind of up for debate.
Well, what's your take on it? Because you went to San Diego Comic-Con 2019,
Yes.
this most recent past weekend.
Yes.
I mean, it's not Con of Thrones big, but it's pretty big. And do you think it's going in? What direction do you think it is going in, and what direction should it go in?
That's fantastic question to ask. I think, like, right now, to me, it does seem like they're really pushing, like, the celebrity angle. To me, it seems like it's really big for people like Disney, NBC,
Sure.
Netflix, all those people, HBO, to make a push and to promote their shows and to get fans to see the celebrities. I think the trade-off is when sometimes there's been a big discussion about lines and people lining up,
Yeah, I heard
cutting
about that.
lines, and then as well, people not getting to see the panels that they want to see because people like holding down the rooms because they want to see the big show at the end.
Sure.
So there was a big problem with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Really?
Where I think there was a Kojima panel and something else, and those people stayed in that room the entire day. And I had friends who like didn't get to see the panels they wanted because for some reason they put Brooklyn Nine-Nine in a smaller room. And yeah, it is.
Which
it's
Kojima?
Hideo?
Hideo? Oh,
yeah, that guy.
Death
Metal
Stranding.
Gear Solid guy. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
the weird video game stuff. So, I mean, that's just one kind of
We love video
trade-off. And I don't know, it's like, I kind of personally like that you do have the opportunity to see the celebrities and these people in these bigger
Sure.
rooms. And maybe it just means the trade-off now is that local cons can rise, like the one you went to where we can kind of still have those fan niche panels without worrying about lines and people hogging seats and stuff. It's a big thing.
Maybe you're right. I mean, because con culture has exploded in the past like decade or so. And there are smaller things like Con of Thrones. Maybe you're right. Maybe it can be like the place where you go for these giant things, and Con of
Yeah.
Thrones where you go for a smaller thing. Because it was really good to get into like the nitty gritty minutia of like some of the panels were just like so specific. Like, there were ones for every single character. Like I went like an hour long talk about Theon's journey. It was fun. I loved it. There was about like LGBTQ people in A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
There was one about, prophecies. There's one about meta-narratives and, like, fan reactions. It was really, really fun. And speaking of Game of Thrones, though, you attended the Game of Thrones
Yeah.
panel at
I did.
Comic-Con. How did that go down? What were your impressions?
Boy.
Read the
Wow.
room for us, Mia.
Why did that go down? So, Hall H, everybody was packed, excited. We had Maisie Williams, Jacob Anderson, Landon Cunningham, Nikolai, Isaac Hempstead Wright,
Conleth Hill.
Conleth Hill as well. Absent was D&D. We already knew that.
Yes.
And the consensus was, I think among fans and among the actors, was that they were all still happy to have been along in the journey and they love the whole idea of Game of Thrones. when they started discussing the series finale, that final season is where things got a little icky and weird.
Was it icky and weird? Were there like some icky and weird moments?
I think yes. And I wrote a story about this on Culturist, which you can read, where some of the actors kind of, to me, like they did not know the definitive ending for their character. Take for example, Isaac, who was talking about Bran. And they asked him, if Bran is the three-eyed raven, how come he didn't stop Daenerys before the destruction of King's Landing? And so get this, Isaac says that because he says Bran, as the three-eyed raven, can see in the past very well, but when he gets to seeing in the future, it gets kind of cloudy, and so he can't know everything.
Sure.
And so I just said, okay, I guess. That was basically all I could say was, okay, I guess.
Sure.
If that's what you want. So it feels to me like even the actors have their own headcanon for things. And that's just going to be the way that it is for here on out.
Sure. I mean, you gotta fill in stuff. I mean, so I heard about them not taking questions at the end. So what do you think? Was that deliberate? Because I will say, like, at Con of Thrones, they took questions and they were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was chill, everyone was cool about it, no one was disrespectful. There was one person who asked Jerome Flynn, like, about the whole Lena Headey, Jerome Flynn,
Oh my god.
like, drama, and that got some hisses. But that was, like, one dude, and he was just like, don't believe everything you read, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was the one time it got weird. Otherwise, everyone was perfectly fine.
Yeah. I would say to me, it was a little suspicious, and some other people were like that as well, that they ran down the clock. I won't say for sure.
Was it an hour?
I believe so. Yeah, it was just about an hour.
Okay.
I could see, like, there's the moderator and they have like a clock in front of them, so I could see the clock. And when it gets to 5 minutes, it's like it starts getting red, like, wrap it up. And I was like, they have not asked a single question. I see fans lined up along the wall.
Yeah, it's too bad.
And so I can't say for sure if, if it was on purpose, and I'll just say this, that they were maybe just afraid because this is such a huge, Hall H has like 6,000 plus capacity people.
Lord.
So, to ask.
Was it full?
It was, oh yeah, every seat was packed. And so that's
6,000.
Yeah, those are a lot of stakes that are raised for somebody to ask a question or to, tarnish their name or whatever. So I don't think that was going to happen anyway, but now we'll never know.
Like, I wonder if the moderator just underestimated the audience. Because again, like at Con of Thrones, it was Costa Waldo was there. And he took questions and everything was fine.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I did see some headlines where they say he got booed.
I saw some of that too. Did that happen?
I think that was taken out of context. Like, he didn't just get booed just because. I think it was something else. And gosh, if I can't remember it. But if you see that headline, it really wasn't that bad. He was fine. Nobody was like super angry at him. It was just one of those things like, oh man, we wish that didn't happen, but oh well.
Yeah, I also saw headlines that like, Conleth Hill confirms that Varys did poison Daenerys, and I watched the tape and like, that's not what he said.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's I think a lot of things taken out of context from that. And, oh well, you just kind of have to read the whole picture, read the whole story to get it. The cutest thing, though, was Jacob Anderson, who plays Grey Worm,
Yeah, I saw this.
When he did this twice, when he got a little, shaken or didn't want to answer questions, he had a Spider-Man mask with him, and he pulled on the Spider-Man mask to hide his face. It was the cutest thing. And I didn't, it was kind of like on and off, so I didn't get a chance to snap the picture, but the pictures are out there if you want to see Spider-Man Jacob
There are some
Anderson.
Getty images.
Yeah, there are.
Stuff
There are.
Got any comments?
Yeah, Julie Davis.
Hey,
Hi,
Julie.
Says, "Oh yeah, Bran, excuses." And it's like, yeah, that sounds pretty excuses
much,
to me.
yeah.
Kenny says Nikolai was super nice and attentive.
Yeah, he totally was. Very, very
Awesome.
sweet. I will say, he did come in kind of seeming like he was rearing to defend the seas. Like he knew. Like, he'd read some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, that's okay. He was perfectly cool about it. He wasn't after anybody. He was well-spoken about it. And the fans were respectful in turn.
That's
like,
good.
it never got ugly. Except for that one guy who asked about Lena
There's
Headey
always
and
that
Drew
one
Flynn.
guy.
Don't be a weirdo at cons,
Oh,
guys.
please.
Okay. So what else impressed us from Comic-Con? Obviously, Game of Thrones, like its final bow, but there's, I mean, by all accounts, it it seemed like a pretty good a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tons of stuff.
So we tried to like narrow down some of the things that we're excited about, and one of my picks was I'm pretty excited for His Dark Materials, HBO show.
Yeah.
You went to that panel, you said.
I was also there in Hall H. Wow. What a
Was
coincidence.
it a coincidence, or did you read the books and you were excited about this too?
You know what? I think I had nothing to do at that out. No. Okay, no. I did get invited to that one. Right. It was Dark Crystal. I had nothing to do, so I went. But His Dark Materials, I did go. Lin-Manuel Miranda was there. James McAvoy was there. And some of the other, and I'm drawing a blank right now, but they were there and they were super excited to promote the show.
Those folks don't know, His Dark Materials is an adaptation of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials book.
Series, yeah.
Which is kind of a fantasy sci-fi set in like Victorian kind of times, but with sort of steampunk almost.
Yeah, definitely.
With
and
like zeppelins.
The whole concept is that you have your person and then you have a quote unquote demon who's like your animal companion. So for example, like a snow leopard or monkey or something like that. So I think it's really interesting. And
it's like, what would your house sigil be? But it'd be like, what would your demon be?
What would your demon be?
And like mine would be a dragonfly or something, or a dung beetle.
Oh.
Or like
that just came out of left field.
And on
that kind of thing.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think for fans who like this series and were kind of disappointed by Golden Compass, I think that the producers and everyone really put special care and attention into this. I also wrote a piece about this on Culturist. You can check it out and just see that they're really ready to showcase this and make up for Golden Compass.
I'm looking forward to it. I think those books are really solid and really strong and interesting. I think they can make a really good series.
Yeah.
Cheryl, you had a pick for a show that you're excited for. They showed a trailer for.
I did. First, Kenny says, I think the actors have it wrong. It seems like they think we were mad at their performance when we weren't, just the writing. It just seemed like Nikolai was defending the acting when he didn't have to. That's not what we are mad about, at least myself. Julie is reading Wheel of Time, which we are also excited to cover. Yes, please tell us, Julie. She's about 3/4 through the first book.
Awesome.
Oh, I'd be very curious to hear that. Honestly, Julie, I would. Like, if you have opinions on that, I would love to hear you.
Tell us, Julie. Tell us everything. Anyway, my pick, Star Trek Picard. I am a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Raised in it's in the family, man.
Bred.
Yeah, and like I was a little concerned about this because it's a sequel. Like it's like, oh no, don't ruin Picard for me, please don't. But I watched the trailer and it was just it felt so good.
Yeah,
it felt so kind of in tone, like it continued well. I felt, and I mean, I can't be mad about Patrick Stewart saying engage again. Like there are just some things that bring a reaction out of people, and that's one of them for me. It was just a really good trailer. Like I was definitely very suspicious of it as a series beforehand, but this kind of first look at it, this first like here's what's gonna happen, here's kind of the tone we're looking for. I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna get CBS All Access now.
Yeah, we'll find a way in somehow or other.
Wow.
Just money everywhere. It's fine. But yeah, that was my choice.
Yeah.
I know Mia had some other things that were super impressive. So
yeah, there was also Did you hear about Marvel? Did anybody hear about those
stuff,
guys?
Man.
I didn't hear a thing, Mia. Tell me everything.
Well, first of all, next time I just request that Disney sends me a seat so that I don't have to snoop around and then get kicked out of Hall H.
Really? You got kicked out of Hall H?
Well, I was there for the panel before that because I had a ticket. Then I was politely ushered out because people who did have a ticket needed to be in. So I watched afar from Twitter. But there is a lot going on as far as diversity in Marvel. Everyone is excited for Shang-Chi. They're excited for the new Photon. They're excited for Black Widow movie, which... Blade. I was so surprised. I didn't see that announcement until like the next morning for some reason. And I was like, are you kidding me? They're doing Blade again? Hey.
Everything old is new again.
Yeah, pretty much. Marvel pretty much announced most of their phase 4, including Disney Plus shows. So I am super pumped and hyped for the next 2 years.
Do you think it's enough to keep the momentum going?
I think there's they have plenty to keep the momentum going, and that, like, on top of Eternals and all these other movies, I think the celebrities are really going to draw the people in. Like, I think Marvel has solidified itself now to the point where they're just like, Kevin Feige is like, I can make whatever I want. You guys are going to come running.
Same time, it's very calculated. I mean, it's like they're not making dumb choices, I feel like. The movies, TV shows they're making, like, they seem like they're all appealing to people.
Oh, yeah.
They're not slipping up and making something stupid.
No. Like Jane Foster Thor. Can we give it up for Jane Foster Thor? And I feel like Natalie Portman as a character, or as an actress, was kind of wasted on Jane Foster in the first two movies. And with Marvel 2.0, I'm like, this is her redemption. Taika Waititi, I think, has the power to make it better.
The one thing that really struck me from the Marvel announcements was Marvel's getting weird. And I like it. Well, I mean, listen to it. Like, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. That's a good-ass title.
That is a good-ass, but it's weird. But it's a weird title. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
like,
that's also a good title.
Like, I'm into it. I mean,
I asked about the title of that with someone who works at Marvel, and I was like, where does that come from? Does that come from a comic or anything? And he was like, no, I think it was something where it was like, it was a dream. That's basically what it was. Taika Waititi's like, I like this, let's go with it. I'm like, all right.
It's very 80s in a way.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it.
Finally, before we wrap up and move on to Song of Dan and Josh, I feel like we should touch briefly on a trailer that I think made a big splash. And you can tell me if there was buzz around the floor. The Witcher on Netflix. I think that's Henry Cavill with a shirt off. I think
that is
a lot of folk are kind of pegging this as maybe one of the leading contenders to inherit the Game of Thrones, whatever that means exactly. And I did enjoy the trailer. I'm reading the books now, and they're pretty good. It seems like a really good base to build a show on.
Yeah.
The cast looks appealing.
To say the least. Word for it.
And I'm pretty excited about it. I think that has potential to be a really good watch.
Yeah.
What was your take from the show floor, if you had any?
That's actually quite interesting because whatever was going on in my bubble, I had no clue about what was going on with the Witcher.
It's a pretty big show floor.
I'm like, how did I miss this? Well, I wasn't there, so that's one of the sad things about that. But I do think that it has that potential to capture, especially Game of Thrones audiences, if you guys need something to watch to fill that void. I mean, you can't go wrong with. Yeah.
It's like, for those who are familiar, it's kind of Game of Thrones-esque. It's set in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
It's a little closer to Lord of the Rings, because they're like elves and dwarves and stuff, but it's still like got the political elements that Game of Thrones people like. It's kind of, I think of it as like halfway between like Lord of the Rings and Song of Ice and Fire. It's like they meet in the middle, and that's kind of where The Witcher is. It's an interesting mix.
I'm just here for Henry Cavill.
That will put some butts in seats too.
Yeah. I did watch the trailer. I did really like the trailer. I think it has a lot kind of going for it. I think it did a really good job of kind of setting the stakes.
Looks really slick too.
It looks really slick. You can't even clock Henry Cavill's wig line, so it's fine.
That's where we're going today.
But yeah, I think it had a really strong trailer. I ranked all of the SDCC trailers at Winter's Coming. If you guys want to check that out.
That's true. She did.
I had a lot of trailer watching the other day. My eyes hurt. Please help me. But yeah, no, I think it was a good Comic-Con. I mean, Marvel pretty much undisputedly won it, if we care about that. But I think there was a lot of good coming out of it.
Yeah, it's like a solid Comic-Con, I think.
Yeah. And if I may interject, if you want something else that's fantasy, I completely did not understand it, but Dark Crystal... which does have an amazing cast. I was there for Hall H. And I say only, Mark Hamill and Taron Egerton showed up out of the whole voice cast. But hey, when Mark Hamill's around, it's always a good time.
That's true.
So I got to see the first episode of it. I was into it. It was about an hour to 45 minutes or so. And it uses those classic Jim Henson puppets. So if that's something you're a fan of, from the 80s and that time, I think it'll be fun especially if you're into fantasy. For me, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I enjoyed it anyway. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, so a lot of solid stuff to come out of there. Any other closing thoughts, guys? So we turn it over to bring in Josh Hill.
Is it 2021 yet? I want to see Love and Thunder.
Please.
Love and Thunder.
Please.
Well, great. Thanks so much, guys. Right. And now we're going to bring on slowly, so there be exits and entrances.
Indeed.
Fan-sided overgod Josh Hill, with whom I read A Song of Ice and Fire, George R. R. Martin's as yet incomplete fantasy magnum opus, chapter by chapter. We're breaking it down. What makes it work? What makes it tick? What makes it good? What makes it bad? Just how does it work, and what insights can we plumb? I feel a little weird on this big couch by myself, but it's thank you. It's a new day, right?
It's a new day.
I mean, it's a new era.
It's a new era.
It's a new office. It's a new studio. What do you think of the setup? What do you think of the new area?
I love it. I'm infinitely impressed by it. So, and a lot of hard work went into putting it all together.
That is definitely true.
Of which I did none. So,
are you kidding?
If we're thanking anybody, we're thanking Richard and the video team.
I tried to steam these flags once. That's the most I've ever done.
I've seen you try to
terrible job.
Emphasis on try.
Yeah, it didn't work.
it was a tough.
I have to iron them.
It was a tough go.
But yeah, we are back, and Julie says hi. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Julie.
And he now says best work today.
Hi, everybody, not just
hello,
Julie.
Everybody, yes.
Hello, everybody.
We got Kenny and Kirsten and Walt and Zachary Best.
All right.
Lots of folk watching, and Kim and Terry and Sue. Anyway, we are back after a couple of weeks to talk more about Song of Ice and Fire. We are on the second Sansa chapter.
Indeed.
In A Clash of Kings. Josh, it's been a couple of weeks. What were your impressions of the new Sansa chapter?
I had a long time to let it soak in. And no, it's good. It kind of was a return to this kind of taking down of her Disney princess view of the world, because we've got two dueling views of knights where we've got, what's his name? Dantos
Holloward.
And then the Hound, who could not be further apart on the spectrum of knighthood.
Yeah.
Where you've got one who's kind of closer to the classical, kind of like the Snow White, like follow me into the woods. And
so this chapter opens. I really like how it opens with come to the Godswood tonight if you want to go home.
Yeah.
Which is like a note she gets under the door. She's in King's Landing. She's held prisoner. And there's a weird note. And it gets repeated over and over. I kept thinking of Come With Me If You Want to Live from the Terminator movies.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going. But yeah, it gets that repeat. I thought it's very effective. And so Sansa steals out of her room and meets Dantos Holloward. Do you remember him? He was the drunken knight who showed up late to Joffrey's tournament. And Joffrey was going to just have him killed. Because,
As he
does. Yes. And Sansa kind of talked Joffrey into sparing his life and just making him a fool instead.
Yep.
A life
debt is owed.
Yes, a life debt is owed. But here's the question. Do you remember, because he is on the show.
Okay.
Not a lot, but he is in the show. He helps Sansa. Do you remember his real deal? Like who he's really working for?
No.
He's Littlefinger's stooge. He's working for Littlefinger. This is Littlefinger's way to make contact with Sansa to get her out eventually. But we don't know that at this point. She certainly doesn't know that. And interesting you mentioned the whole thing about dueling kind of roles of knights, because the way he gets in good with her is by appealing to this kind of chivalrous knight aesthetic. Yeah. Like he falls to his knees and pledges his life for hers. He cites like he's a fool, but he's like, I'm like Florian the Fool, which is like a popular song at the time. So like that's how you get to Sansa. You make musical references and you make big sweeping oaths. And then she kisses him on the cheek and she's like, says, my life is yours. It's all very storybook.
Yeah, it's very Disney princess. It's
totally
very fairy tale. And then on the other end of that, you have the Hound, who is the absolute opposite of chivalrous. But in a way, I mean, he's a more realistic knight. I mean, we have the one, which is a very fantastical view. It's very romanticized.
And also fake. Remember, he's lying. He's working for Littlefinger.
There's that too. But like just the images of the two, where the Hound, and that's kind of why he was such an interesting character, an empathetic character on the show, because he's so real, like for lack of a better term, he keeps it real. Like he just does, like where you're juxtaposing that against this fake knight, which is very much appealing to all of Sansa's romantic views of what knighthood should be. Absolutely. And the Hound is basically like, you know, spitting into the spittoon and like adjusting himself. And
he's like drunk and
welcome to the party. Yeah. So, but that's much more real because that is what it's not so much his appearance. It's what's behind that. What has made him that way. And it's because he's an actual knight. He's actually gone through things. It's like, you know, the war veteran and the person who's just in like the, you know, the reserves or something, the weekend like National Guard. So I'm thinking of like that 70s show, Bob and Red specifically.
You know, I've never seen it.
Oh, well.
So I don't get that reference.
Oh, well, there we go.
But I'll try.
Yeah, so there you go. Fantastical. But yes, the Hound, very much the realistic view of the knight.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
And that's what Sansa needs to know. That's what she needs to learn, which is continuing to tear down this idea that life in King's Landing is not at all what you've thought it was. This dream that you've had, it's just not true. It's all a fantasy.
Yes, as the Hound says at the end, I thought it was a good line. Pretty thing and such a bad liar. A dog can smell a lie, you know. Look around you and take a good whiff. They're all liars here, and everyone better than you. So everyone is lying to her. Dantos is lying to her, like straight up. She just doesn't know it. She, again, like she's starting to get wiser, but she's still very much in this I am a princess in a tower mindset. And if I'm gonna get rescued, it's gonna be by a noble knight type. It's not gonna be by the Hound. Even though the Hound will offer to take her home later. Remember, call it from the show? He but before he pieces out of King's Landing, he goes to Sansa and he's like, I can take you home. And she refuses him. Yeah. Because she still, you know, doesn't think that's the right choice. But yeah, he is probably her better option. She just it's hard for her to look past.
She's got to let go of so much that she's held on to about this view. I mean, she's basically changing her outlook on the world, and that's not an easy thing to do.
I also like just her kind of weighing whether she should go to the Godswood or not, because again, like, you know, she is wiser. Like, she knows she can't leave her room without a good excuse, like a good lie. Yeah. Like, she knows if she tries to go, she's thinking, like, this could be a trap. Joffrey could have sent this. It could be, like, a whole thing to humiliate me. She does end up going. And I also really like the bit that the reason she's able to get away is because there's, like, some kind of riot at the gate, and the peasants are, you know, upset because they don't have food or water or anything like that. And it said, like, the Hound is like, oh, yeah, there was some peasant riot, and Joffrey led a sortie against the peasants. You know what that means? That means that Joffrey got on his horse with his armor and led a bunch of armored knights out against, like, peasants who want bread and, like, cut them down.
A total Joffrey move. If we're talking fake chivalry, like, that is, like, fake leadership. That's, like, dictator stuff.
That's like a Tiananmen Square move where it's like a tank against a guy. That's what he's doing, which of course he would.
I mean, yeah, it's Joffrey.
I like that he's making me laugh even when he's off. He doesn't show up at all, but he just says that and like, yeah, that sounds about like what he would do, which is funny. So yeah, Sansa's able to get away, and she does lie some. Like, she says, "Why are you in the gods?" But like, I was praying, which yeah, sure. No one likes to talk about religion. They'll let you get away with that. Yeah. So she's learning, but yeah, it's a slow climb for Sansa.
The whole Godswood thing too was kind of like the Nigerian prince that emails you. It's like, give me $500, I'll give you $5,000 back. It's kind of the same thing. But it's also because he's not real, because he's fake. She gets out of it, but it's like he's working with Littlefinger. So she did actually avoid a Westeros version of the Nigerian prince scam. So.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's also romantic. Like,
I mean, a little bit. I mean,
come and meet me in the wood. Like, come on, that's
what's appealing to her.
To her sensibilities.
Yeah, so, but she wised up, which is an evolution of her character, slow maturation.
She says in the show, rapid growth, but she's a slow learner, but she does learn, so it just takes a while. That's a line from the show. She said that. Yeah. That's Sansa admitting it. Not a hugely big chapter, kind of all that happened, but I think it's pretty good. Oh, he also swore an oath. Again, that Dantos did, because, again, he knows that oaths will get through to her. I liked the bit where she's talking about all the people she missed. Like, she missed her father. She misses her friend, Jane Poole, who, just remember that name, she'll come back. And And she even missed Arya once in a while, like at the end of that. She missed Septon Mordain. It was a whole paragraph, and a lot more ink was spread for her dead Septa and her friend who we barely knew. Arya's at the end. Like once in a while, I miss her, which is funny.
Little footnote.
She's a little footnote in her life. I also like the bit where she's talking about some of her trials that have gone on in the past couple of weeks. She says that. Like, she's been punched by the Kingsguard. Like, Meryn Trant punched her with a mailed fist when she accidentally, in front of Joffrey, I forget which nephew it was. It was like something like, King Rob won a battle. And she was like, good, accidentally. And then she got punched for that. And she says it was her own fault. She must learn to hide her feelings better so as not to anger Joffrey. So again, it's the Sansa survival strategy is not going to be confrontational. No. It's not the Arya way. It's, okay, I got to just push it all down and wait for an opportunity, which is her thing.
Yeah.
Which will do that too. Well, that's kind of all there was to the chapter. Have any other thoughts on it, Josh? Anything else stand out to you?
No. Just the idea that Sansa's slowly coming to the realization that life is not as peachy as she maybe thought it was. Right. Now that she's having to go through these trials and hardships, which is just going to get harder. Like, it's not going to get any easier for her, which is almost the most tragic part, is she's going through these struggles, and you're like, well, it's going to get worse from here. So,
yeah.
But
there is a really good, like, breaking moment in the books that we'll get to that they actually didn't have on the show, and I was upset about it.
Yeah.
Like, where it really is, like, you know, she's, like, going like this, climbing the thing, and, like, she'll just, like, there's a sharp uptick moment they did not have. I'm curious when we get to that, what you think about it.
Interesting.
And some comments. Sansa was romantic back then, says Julie, before she learned to play the game. And she also says, the pheasants are revolting, which is a funny pun, Julie. Very nice. And Devi reminds us that, and they kiss in the books. I think Sansa and Dantos or Sansa and the Hound. Sansa and the Hound do kiss, I believe, in the books.
They do?
Yes.
I mean, now I don't have to read it because you just spoiled it for me.
He kisses her. It's uncomfortable.
Oh.
They wisely cut it. But we'll get to that.
Okay, well, I can't wait. Wow, you teased it so well.
Exactly. Okay.
What are we reading next week? What's our chapter?
Arya 5.
Is anybody reading along with us too? Like,
Is anybody reading along with us out there?
You should.
Who's reading along?
Please read with us.
I'm going to arrange all the chapters that we've done, all the videos in like a playlist. So we got like all the Game of Thrones chapters, all the Clash of Kings chapters.
Big fan of that.
In the near future. So look out for that. Hopefully that'll bring some people in.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week with Arya 5 and more Take the Black Life. Let's talk about. Glad to be back. Glad to be in the new set. Thanks for watching and have a lovely evening.